Careblazer, what if I told you that it's possible for 2025 to be your best caregiving year yet? As the new year is approaching, it's a great time to think about what we want to change, improve, how we want our lives to look. And many people set really big goals during this time. They start to create a vision of what they want their life to look like and what they want to happen in the new year. It's often, for a lot of people in the beginning of the year, a time of inspiration and hope. But for caregivers of a loved one with dementia, it can feel tough to think about the future. It might even feel overwhelming. Like, why even think about the future or about possibilities and growth and goals and creation and vision when there's so much uncertainty, so many challenges? And it can feel like at this stage in your life, at this chapter in your caregiving journey, there's not much to look forward to. Or maybe you actually do have big dreams, big goals, big hopes, but it feels like, what's the point in even thinking about them or giving them attention or even trying to set a goal to attain those things when caregiving feels like it's taken up all of your life? I get it, but I am here to tell you that you can have a great caregiving year. You can have your best caregiving year yet, despite the fact that you're caring for a condition that gets worse with time. I know this because last year we actually did a program called How to Have Your Best Caregiving Year Yet. And we had hundreds of Careblazers go through this program and follow the concepts and the teachings and the steps laid out to really have their best caregiving year yet. So I know it's possible. I've seen it with my own eyes. And personally, I've gone through it myself. So I want to take this time in today's video to share 3 big concepts we talked about in that program. So that program ended up being 5 live classes, but I want to teach 3 of the big concepts from the very first class because I think there's lots you can take away. And I will share how you can get access to all 5 videos and the original teachings at the end of this video. That way you can follow the system and create a better year for yourself. Okay, here's the first big concept. We have to remember that life truly is short. All of us in this world right now are going to die at some point. Now, I know that might sound really hard to hear or like, whoa, Natalie, why are you saying this? This is kind of crazy. But actually, this can be quite freeing and motivating when you stop to think about it. Rather than waiting for some sort of better tomorrow when we think the future is going to be easier and there's going to be less challenges and maybe we're no longer caregiving. So rather than waiting for that future better tomorrow, we can actually start choosing to live fully today. We don't have to wait for some future time when we think it's going to be easier. We can actually start to make the changes and choices and actions we want right now. When we realize that life is not forever, it's not endless, it can inspire us to make the most out of each and every day that we have. This might look like speaking our minds, not keeping everything inside, sharing, not being afraid to share with friends or family or even healthcare providers about what your needs are, about where you would like some extra support. It might even look like just speaking up and accepting the help that's been offered or asking for help that hasn't been offered. It could even look like letting go of a lot of the smaller worries, realizing in the big scheme of this short life, there are going to be so many things that aren't going to go right and that aren't perfect. And we can let those things take our peace and our energy and our focus, or we can decide, you know what, I'm not going to let that take my peace. I'm going to focus on what really matters here. It could even look like choosing to create joy now, which we'll talk about later in a minute. But we don't have to wait for a perfect moment. We don't have to wait for a clear calendar for everybody in our lives to be completely healthy for joy to find us. We can create our own happiness despite any life circumstance we are in right now. It doesn't mean sorrow and heartbreak and pain and sadness are going to disappear, but it means that we can have joy right alongside that sorrow and pain. So that's number 1, truly keeping our own mortality and eventual death in mind. That helps us more fully live our life. Number 2 is to focus on yourself. And what I mean by this specifically is that it's human nature, especially for us Careblazers, right? Where we put a lot of our attention and our focus on things outside of us, on our loved one with dementia, on the healthcare system, on the healthcare providers, on other family members who may or may not be doing things the way that we wish that they would. But we have this term in psychology, and for those of you who don't know, I am a board certified geropsychologist. We have a term called locus of control. And what locus of control refers to is how much a person believes they have influence over their life, over their behaviors, over their action. So there's two specific types of locus of control. We have an internal locus of control, which means a person believes that they have a lot of impact and control over their life and their actions and their life circumstances. And then we have external locus of control, where the person believes they don't have much power or control or influence in their life, and it's external factors, things outside of them, that determine their life circumstances. So somebody who has a high internal locus of control, they very strongly believe they have a lot of power and influence over their life. Somebody with a high external locus of control, they really believe that no matter what they do, it doesn't matter. It's outside forces in life that's going to really determine the quality of their life. The one thing to realize when we're talking about locus of control is that it's a continuum. It's not like anybody is all 100% external or all 100% internal locus of control. We all exist somewhere on a continuum. And I think it's possible to slip more one way or the other, specifically with certain things in life, especially caregiving, where there is actually so much outside of our control. This condition is outside of our control. The treatments available are outside of our control. There's just so much outside of our control when we really stop and think about dementia caregiving. But what research shows us is that people who have a high external locus of control, so they believe no matter what, they don't have much control or influence over their actions or behaviors or life circumstances. They think it's really all outside factors. These people tend to have higher rates of depression, higher rates of anxiety. They even have a harder time making decisions. Overall, it's just a much harder life to live when you have a higher external locus of control. So the reason I'm sharing this concept with you today is because you have to decide, do you want to believe that you have influence over your actions and behaviors and life circumstances? Or do you want to believe that it's outside factors that are controlling your life? I really hope you will choose to believe that you have a lot of influence over your life and actions. It's not all up to outside forces. And the best way to start creating more of that internal locus of control is to actually start to create your best caregiving year yet. Create the life that you would like to have. We're not letting outside factors stop us or put our life on hold from being able to create joy in the things that we want. So ask yourself, this is what it boils down to. Do you want your happiness and joy to depend on others and outside factors? Or do you want to create joy and happiness in your life despite those outside factors? So that brings me to this third big concept, which is really about creation. How do you create your best caregiving year yet? Well, to do this, we want to have that internal locus of control, and we want to focus on our thoughts, our feelings. Instead of worrying about everything outside of us, like our loved one's illness, what other people are doing, we can create and choose to create the positive experience for ourselves. Our entire view of our life experience and the view of our loved ones that we're caring for, all of that is coming from our own mind. Now, most of us, if we're human, right? We would like that to be different. I can acknowledge it. There's many things I would like to be different. We want people to be different. We want ourselves to be different. Maybe we want to be healthier, skinnier, prettier, richer, smarter, funnier, whatever it is, right? Those are just normal human desires many people have. But take some time to think about all the things you think life should be like, all the things you wish life was like right now, and actually take some time to think that through in your mind. If you're like a lot of Careblazers, it's probably something like you wish your loved one would accept more help. You wish the healthcare system was actually more helpful, not so confusing, that there were better treatment options available. Like all of those, that's the narrative you're telling yourself in your mind. And that narrative, another way to say it, those thoughts, that story, that's actually what's stopping you and holding you back from having your best caregiving year yet. That's the thing that's stopping you from experience more joy and happiness right now. Those stories you're telling in your mind. Now, it's very easy to believe all the things you think, all the ways you think life should be. I think a lot of people would agree with you. Yeah, healthcare should be more helpful. People with dementia, should have more treatment options available. We're not arguing whether or not it's true. We're really just bringing out the point that focusing on all of this externally is not actually helpful at all. You do have the power to start to shape your own experience and feelings, even when things outside of you are not going well. And it's going to start with you. It's going to start with the story you're telling yourself in your brain, in your head, the narrative you have, where you're putting your focus, and starting to change those steps. So here's your invitation. I have the replays to this live program we did on how to have your best caregiving year yet. If you feel like you would like 2025 to be different, to have more hope, to actually create more positive change, then I'm inviting you to access all of those videos. There's a link below in the description to this video that you can click on, learn more about the program, and join us if you would like to get access to those replays. I promise you, you can start to feel better regardless of whatever life circumstance you're in. A healthy and happy new year isn't just for other people, it could be for us too. So you can go to the link in the description below or go to www.makecaregivingeasier.com/best year. You can also email us at info@careblazers.com. That will help you get access to these 5 lessons on how to create your best caregiving year yet. And please do not let another year pass by where you feel stuck, overwhelmed, and like your life is on hold. It really doesn't have to be that way. Careblazer here is to believing and proving to yourself that brighter days are ahead. I'm sending you so much love as we enter a new year.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.